The Warrior 10, or alternatively Legendary 10 Warriors and Ancient 10 Warriors, are 10 Digimon that protected the digital world in the past. They were created from the same data that created the digital world, and is connected with their 10 legendary spirits. The original 10 Warriors, also known as the Ancient 10 Warriors, were a group of 10 ultimate-level ancient Digimon, possessing ultimate strength that existed only in the distant past, and represent the 10 elemental attributes. The group fought to save the ancient digital world from Lucimen, and in their past crusade against it, only Ancient Greymon and Ancient Urumen survived to the end to seal the angel away. After their fight against Lucimen, they each separated into a human and beast spirit, used by the legendary Chosen for spirit evolution. Each of them passed on their abilities to various Digimon types, and their might to the 32 variable attribute Digimon, who inherited their spirits and title. Their heirs, the modern 10 Warriors, are divided both into 2 subgroups defined by their alignment, and into 10 subgroups defined by the ancient Digimon whose legacy they continue. Each of these 10 subgroups consists of at least 1 human hybrid level Digimon and 1 beast hybrid level Digimon, and sometimes includes the warrior's child level form, a half-beast, half-man Digimon produced when their human forms lose power, their hybrid level fusion species, which has inherited all the might of that attribute's original warriors, by combining its human and beast spirits, or additional human and beast forms. The warriors of fire and light also each have a hybrid level transcendent species, who possess power that has surpassed even the might of the original 10 warriors, by combining the spirits of 5 different attributes together. The legendary spirits, also known as legendary digital spirits, legendary DT spirits and battle spirits, are relics which are entrusted with the power of the legendary 10 warriors. The spirits were used in Digimon Frontier to spirit evolve humans into hybrid Digimon, or in some cases the spirits themselves turn into hybrid Digimon. They were created from the legendary Warrior 10 after their battle with Lucimen. Each spirit resembles the stored armor or body of the hybrid Digimon that they create, and the word spirit is inscribed in Digimoji several times around their base. Each spirit also has a symbol associated to it, which is just a stylized kanji character, referring to the spirit's main attribute. Susanamon bears an 11th symbol, stylized after the kanji for heaven. The 20 spirits can be used by both humans and Digimon. A human type H spirit will allow the user to employ the intelligent human aspects of its corresponding warrior by spirit, evolving into a hybrid level human Digimon that possesses adult level power, while a beast type beast spirit will instead allow them to use the powerful bestial aspects of the warrior by spirit, evolving into a hybrid level beast Digimon that possesses perfect level power. The H and B spirits of darkness are actually corrupted forms tainted by Cherubimon. Their natural forms are called the L and K spirits, after Loimin and Kaiserleimin. By using both the H and B spirits of one element together in order to perform double spirit evolution, the user can take on a fusion form that possesses ultimate level power, and by using the H and B spirits of 5 separate elements to perform hyper spirit evolution, they can reach an even more powerful transcendent form. By using all 20 spirits together to perform ancient spirit evolution to Susanamon, the user can realize the ultimate manifestation of the 10 warriors. Although the human forms are fairly easy to use, the beast forms require self-discipline to master, and the higher forms require a miraculous blessing to even attain. Ancient Greymon is an ultimate level ancient dragon type that has the vaccine attribute. It belongs to Virus Busters in Nature Spears Field, and it is a member of the Warrior 10 group. The name comes from ancient, being belonged to the very distant past, and grey, meaning older ancient. Ancient Greymon possesses the attribute of fire or flame. Its abilities were passed on to the dragon-type Digimon, Ancient Greymon. Possessing the attribute of flame, it is one of the legendary 10 warriors Digimon that saved the ancient digital world. An ultimate who existed only in the distant past, it is told that its strength surpasses that of current ultimates, and it is certainly an ultimate being. Ancient Greymon's abilities were later passed on to the dragon Digimon of the Greymon species. It is said that in the previous crusade, it survived to the end alongside Ancient Urumen, and sealed away Lucimen. His special moves are gathering the spirit of the land and creating a tornado to swallow up the opponent and blow them away, Gaia Tornado, and inducing a super detonation over the surrounding kilometers with an intense flash, Omega Burst. Flamen is a hybrid level child class demon man type that has the variable attribute. It belongs to Nature Spears Field, and it is related to the Warrior 10 group. The name comes from flame, a hot glowing body of ignited gas that is generated by something on fire. Flamen possesses the attribute of fire or flame. It is the base form of the human spirit of fire, Flamen. A Digimon that was transformed into a half-beast, half-man form when Agnemon lost his power. It is missing the combat instinct that Digimon naturally possess, and moreover, it has lost power. However, it is a being that has inherited a spirit of the legendary 10 warriors who possess ultimate strength, so although it has lost power, ordinary adult-class Digimon aren't a match for it. If anything, it has kindness inappropriate for a Digimon, and is similar to a child Digimon, counterbalancing its mischievous part. Its special move is firing off an aura of flames, Baby Salamander. Agnumen is a hybrid level adult class demon man type that has the variable attribute. It belongs to Dragon's Roar, Nature Spirits and Nightmare Soldier's Field, and it is closely related to the Warrior 10 group. The name comes from Anai, the mythological Rigvedic deity of fire. Agnumen possesses the attribute of fire or flame. It is the spirit evolution form of the human spirit of fire, Agnumen. A Digimon that possesses power over flame which bears the might of one of the legendary 10 warriors. Because its Digiker is wrapped in the spiritual fire which is called a holy blaze, it is able to freely manipulate flames. It is an incarnation of the firewall that defends the net, and is a guardian deity. Because of its easily fired up personality, it has a soldier-like aspect that practices mental training with yoga exercises, and its way of speaking is somewhat archaic, like a Kenpo artist. In battle, it fights by freely using oriental martial arts, and accumulates flames at one point of its body with a trick that focuses its spirit to raise its offensive ability. Its special moves are unleashing a blazing dragon from its flame-clad fist, burning salamander, and unleashing a whirlwind kick of flames, salamander break. Britterman is a hybrid level perfect class demon dragon type that has the variable attribute. It belongs to Dragon's Roar, Nature Spirits and Nightmare Soldier's Field, and it is closely related to the Warrior 10 group. The name comes from Vritra, a Vedic serpent, dragon or demon in Hinduism. Britterman possesses the attribute of fire or flame. It is the spirit evolution form of the beast spirit of fire, Britterman. A Digimon that possesses power over flame which bears the might of one of the legendary 10 warriors. This firefighter has skin that can withstand high temperatures and the ability to move even through lava, and snuffs out flames with instant explosive blazes. It is said that it was born from active volcano research data, and it is thought that it contains an immeasurable unknown energy. The name of the fire dragon, who is considered the nemesis of the thunder god Indra of Indian mythology, is embodied in its ferocious nature. The more heroic its tactics and the more powerful the opponent is, the more it burns with combativeness. It also has a reckless side that doesn't understand retreating, even in a disadvantageous fight. Its special moves are firing lasers that rival a solar heat ray from the Rodria Darpana superweapons on both of its arms, Corona Blaster, setting its whole body aflame, then releasing a high-temperature tornado by flapping its wings, Flame Storm. Eldaman is a hybrid-level fusion species ultimate class demon man type that has the variable attribute. It belongs to Dragon's Roar, Nightmare Soldiers and Virus Buster Field, and it is closely related to the Warrior 10 group. The name comes from Ardhanarishvara, the composite androgynous form of Hindu deities, Shiva and his consort Parvati. Eldaman possesses the attribute of fire or flame. It is the double spirit evolution form of the human and beast spirits of fire, Eldaman. A Digimon that possesses power over flame that has transcended legend by inheriting all the might of one of the legendary 10 warriors, and acquiring unknown abilities. Although it makes many enemies with its rough behavior, its name is derived from the fused form of a god of Indian mythology, and since it possesses both the wildness of a beast and the intelligence of a human, it is a demon god that fights by converting anger or fear into righteous strength. In battle, it unleashes super wide-ranged attacks that melt everything, then burn it up without a trace. This aspect has enough destructive power, in that moment, to bear a close resemblance to the menace of modern nuclear weapons. Its special moves are enhancing the holy flames of its Digiker to their utmost limit, then personally manufacturing the high temperature and high density core of the sun, before detonating it Brahmashira, and the high-speed rapid firing of the extremely high temperature shots it unleashes from the Rodria Darpana superweapons on both of its arms, Brahmastra. Also, it is capable of fighting using the Rodria Darpana in hand-to-hand combat, and it specializes in close combat. Kaiser Greymon is a hybrid-level transcendent species ultimate class dragon warrior type that has the variable attribute. It belongs to Nightmare Soldiers and Wind Guardians Field, and it is related to the Warrior 10 group. The name comes from Kaiser, the German word for emperor, and Grey, meaning older ancient. Kaiser Greymon possesses the attribute of fire or flame. It is the hyper-spirit evolution form of the human and beast spirits of 5 attributes, specifically, fire, wind, ice, earth, and wood, Kaiser Greymon. A transcendent species Digimon that possesses power over flame, which is said to have surpassed even the might of the legendary 10 warriors. It is said to bear the power of the 9 dragons' veins that flow through Gaia, and it has been prophesied that if it can restrain the might of the 9 dragons, it will demonstrate unfathomable ability, and even be able to rule Gaia. It is said that, in order to control their power, it possesses the Ryuganken, in which the dragon's souls are sealed. Its special moves are firing arrows from the Ryuganken. These flames are so intense that they become a white light, Ryujeki, and releasing the 8 dragons' veins dwelling within Gaia, then becoming the final dragon itself, and pulverizing the opponent with its greatsword, Kuzuyujin. Ancient Uruman is an ultimate level ancient beast type that has the data attribute. It belongs to Nightmare Soldiers and Virus Busters Field, and it is a member of the Warrior 10 group. The name comes from ancient, being belonged to the very distant past, and Garuru, the Japanese onomatopoeia for a wolf's growl. Ancient Garurumon possesses the attribute of light. Its abilities were passed on to the beast-type Digimon. Ancient Garurumon. Possessing the attribute of light, it is one of the legendary 10 warriors Digimon that saved the ancient digital world. An ultimate who existed only in the distant past, it is called the Supreme Shining Beast. Ancient Garurumon's abilities were later passed on to the Beast Digimon. It is said that in the previous crusade, it survived to the end alongside Ancient Greymon and sealed away Elusiman. His special moves are brandishing its two greatswords with a dazzling brilliance, and cutting the opponent to pieces, Sharpness Claymore, and completely halting the movement of electrons with Super Cold Air at Absolute Zero, and a Super Ray of Light, Absolute Zero. Strabimon is a hybrid-level child-class beastman type that has the variable attribute. It belongs to Nature Spears Field, and it is related to the Warrior 10 group. The name comes from Straben, literally to rebel, for fur to bristle in German. Strabimon possesses the attribute of light. It is the base form of the human spirit of light, Strabimon. A Digimon that was transformed into a half-beast, half-man form when Wolfman's power was halved. Because it has not lost its combat instinct. Like the similar half-beast, half-man Flaming, it has a ferocious side. For that reason, although it has the appearance of a child Digimon, it will sometimes rampage enough to be out of control, even for the typical adult. As with Flaming, although his power was decreased, it seems that adult-class Digimon aren't a match for it. His special move is cutting the opponent to pieces with the shining claws on his hands, like Nagel. Wolfman is a hybrid-level adult-class warrior type that has the variable attribute. It belongs to Nature Spears, Nightmare Soldiers and Virus Busters Field, and it is closely related to the Warrior 10 group. The name comes from wolf, the grey wolf, specifically all subspecies of the grey wolf, Canis lupus, that are not dingoes or dogs. Wolfman possesses the attribute of light. It is the spirit evolution form of the human spirit of light, Wolfman. A Digimon that possesses power over light which bears the might of one of the legendary 10 warriors. The lavender parts all over its body are Saint Amethyst, in which holy light is contained. Due to the holy light, the amethyst retains its extraordinary hardness, as long as it keeps its righteous spirit, but the second a negative spirit arises in the possessor, it becomes brittle. It is the possessor of a chivalrous spirit that puts its life on the line for the things it believes in, and hates injustice. Because Wolfman is taciturn and doesn't really like to concern itself with others, it often has the impression of being cold and unfeeling, but it is actually a kind-hearted warrior. Its special moves are splitting the opponent in two with its Lick Short light swords, Lick Seizure, and similarly, connecting its two Lick Short, and then cutting the opponent into many pieces, Sway Seizure. Garurumon is a hybrid-level perfect class hybrid type that has the variable attribute. It belongs to Nature Spears Field, and it is closely related to the Warrior 10 group. The name comes from Garmr, a wolf or dog associated with both Hell and Ragnarok, and described as a blood-stained guardian of Hell's Gate. Garurumon possesses the attribute of light. It is the spirit evolution form of the beast spirit of light, Garurumon. A Digimon that possesses power over light which bears the might of one of the legendary 10 warriors. It is capable of moving at extremely high speed, perhaps because it was discovered on an optical communication net, so it slips through the bullets to get close to the enemy, and then its sharply pointed claws and fangs tear through those it considers evil without wasting its breath. As the possessor of a righteous heart becoming the name of Garmr, who fights with the war god Turret Ragnarok in Norse mythology, his feelings of hatred for evil are stronger than that of others. Although it will never obey those whose hearts are even slightly evil, once it has sworn its allegiance to someone it will never betray them. Its special moves are charging at extremely high speed, cutting the opponent to pieces with the wing blades on its back, Speed Star, and absorbing light energy through its mouth, then spewing it out right at the critical point, Solar Laser. The Wolfman is a hybrid-level fusion species ultimate class warrior type that has the variable attribute. It belongs to Virus Buster Field, and it is closely related to the Warrior 10 group. The name comes from Beowulf, a legendary Jiddisch hero in the eponymous epic poem. Beowulfman possesses the attribute of light. It is the double spirit evolution form of the human and beast spirits of light, Beowulfman. A Digimon that possesses power over light that has transcended legend by inheriting all the might of one of the legendary 10 warriors, and acquiring unknown abilities. It is a strong-armed warrior that possesses both the wildness of a beast and the intelligence of a human, and can easily swing down its double-bladed greatsword Turnitin with one hand. In battle, it coolly sizes up the situation and fights without getting heated up, but it believes in the way of the warrior, of fighting for his comrades and challenging strong opponents. It has the Roland 2 missile pod on its left hand for use in long-range combat, and specializes in both long-range and short-range combat. Its special moves are a powerful combination of heavy fire that assaults the opponent with several homing missiles fired from the Roland 2, then brings them down with its main armament, Licht Angriff, and swinging the Greatsword Trinidad at subluminal speed from overhead, instantly cutting the opponent to pieces, Zweihander. Magnagururman is a hybrid-level transcendent species ultimate class cyber type that has the variable attribute. It belongs to Metal Empire and Virus Buster Field, and it is related to the Warrior Chen group. The name comes from Magna, meaning great in Latin, and Gurur, the onomatopoeia for a wolf's growl in Japanese. Magnagururman possesses the attribute of light. It is the hyper-spirit evolution form of the human and beast spirits of 5 attributes, specifically, light, thunder, darkness, water and steel. Magnagururman. A transcendent species Digimon that possesses power over light, which is said to have surpassed even the might of the legendary 10 warriors. It specializes in moving at light speed, and when its aviation unit is equipped, it is able to fly at subluminal speeds. Also, its chest armor, its long-range firing sniper phantom on its right arm, and its mid-range firing strike phantom on its left arm, are capable of being detached, although this decreases a portion of its firepower. By spinning at high altitudes, the laser sights on its chest are capable of locking onto all anti-air and anti-ground targets, so as soon as it spins at an extremely high altitude and confirms its targets, it commences a full-scale attack. It seems that it's already too late to escape from Magnagururman. Its special moves are conducting a simultaneous firing of all its guns at all the locked targets, then violently pulverizing the main target at high speed, Machine Gun Destroy, and after detaching its chest armor, accelerating to speeds that exceed the subluminal and reach the superluminal level, then erasing everything that comes in contact with any of the bands of light, starlight velocity. Ancient Beatman is an ultimate level ancient insect type that has the vaccine attribute. It belongs to Nature Spears Field, and it is a member of the Warrior Chen group. The name comes from ancient, being belonged to the very distant past, and beat, probably a pun on beetle and beat. Ancient Beatman possesses the attribute of thunder. Its abilities were passed on to the insect-type Digimon. Ancient Beatman. Possessing the attribute of thunder, it is one of the legendary 10 warriors Digimon that saved the ancient digital world. An ultimate who existed only in the distant past, it has an appearance fused from many insects, such as the rhinoceros beetle and stag beetle. Its shell has a hardness rivaling that of Chrome Digizoid, so the falx on both of its arms can cut through anything, and it can easily lift up objects hundreds of times its own weight. Ancient Beatman's abilities were later passed on to the insect Digimon. Its special moves are Calamitous Thunder, which brings about super disasters, Calamity Thunder, and a super electrical attack with 1,000 times the power of Giga Blaster, Terra Blaster. Blitzman is a hybrid-level adult class cyber type that has the variable attribute. It belongs to Metal Empire Field, and it is closely related to the Warrior Chen group. The name comes from Blitz, an intensive or sudden military attack. Blitzman possesses the attribute of thunder. It is the spirit evolution form of the human spirit of thunder. Blitzman. A Digimon that possesses power over thunder, which bears the might of one of the legendary 10 warriors. Its key movements, unbecoming of its large build, are a technique to form a high-voltage current running throughout its body. It generates a special magnetic field that produces an anti-gravity state in its vicinity, and is capable of high-speed movement. Its overflowing thunder power comes out as sparks from various parts of its body, and although Blitzman looks mechanical, its personality is, in contrast, expressive and human. Its language is trollish, but it additionally conveys excess warmth. In battle, its underwater mobility is weak due to the nature of its wrestler-like style. His special moves are clasping its hands together, then dynamically swinging them down, Thor Hammer, and making lightning fall from the sky like rain, Julna Thunder. Boldman is a hybrid-level perfect class cyber type that has the variable attribute. It belongs to Metal Empire Field, and it is closely related to the Warrior Chen group. The name comes from Firbolg, once thought to be the Neolithic god of thunder and lightning. Boldman possesses the attribute of thunder. It is the spirit evolution form of the beast spirit of thunder. Boldman. A Digimon that possesses power over thunder, which bears the might of one of the legendary 10 warriors. It has a cautious and prudent personality, because it was discovered in a defense system created in reference to the scarab treasure chamber in the deepest part of a pyramid. During battle, it patiently serves as a shield for its comrades using its sturdy armor and endures the opponent's attacks, but if it reaches its critical point it will go on an intense offensive with all of its gun ports until even the opponent's form is reduced to nothing. Because its heavy weight lowers its mobility, it is basically the one in charge of logistical support. However, in close-range battles it obliterates the opponent with its various armaments. Its special moves are collecting, and then firing all of its energy from both of its arms, Ultimate Thunder, and firing an extremely high-speed positron laser from its head turret, Field Destroyer. Rhinocabuterimon is a hybrid-level fusion species ultimate class insect type that has the variable attribute. It's unknown whether it belongs to any specific fields. It is closely related to the warrior 10 group. The name comes from rhinoceros beetle and Kabutomushi, both refer to a very large mainly tropical beetle, the male of which has a curved horn extending from the head, and typically another from the thorax. Rhinocabuterimon possesses the attribute of thunder. It is the double spirit evolution form of the human and beast spirit of thunder. Rhinocabuterimon, a Digimon that possesses power over thunder that has transcended legend by inheriting all the might of one of the legendary 10 warriors, and acquiring unknown abilities. It has such a gigantic body and a heavy shell that it could be mistaken for a dinosaur. It has the ability to generate a special magnetic field with ultra-high voltage electric current, and is able to freely manipulate it using its gigantic horn. Although rushing techniques are a specialty, it doesn't actually come into contact with the opponent, but instead tosses them away with that special magnetic field. Its special moves are dynamically wielding its horn and liberating all of the electricity accumulated within its body all at once, swallowing up the opponent in a lightning storm, condenser storm, and firing all the electricity accumulated in its horn like a laser, thunder laser. Ancient Arisman is an ultimate level ancient birdman type that has the vaccine attribute. It belongs to Wind Guardian's field, and it is a member of the Warrior 10 group. The name comes from ancient, being belonged to the very distant past, and Iris, the mythological Greek goddess of the rainbow. Ancient Arisman possesses the attribute of wind. Its abilities were passed on to the Birdman and Fairy-type Digimon. Ancient Arisman, possessing the attribute of wind, it is one of the legendary 10 warriors Digimon that saved the ancient digital world. An ultimate who existed only in the distant past, it has golden wings and a beautiful rainbow-colored figure. With its golden wings it soars around the vast skies, and it is said that by erecting rainbow bridges, it can move freely even through the earth and sea. Ancient Arisman's beauty and abilities were later passed on to the Birdman and Fairy Digimon. His special moves are continuously generating a colossal storm, Storm Gazer, and firing a super fused laser that shines with the 7 colors, Rainbow Symphony. Pheromon is a hybrid-level adult-class fairy type that has the variable attribute. It belongs to Nature Spears, Virus Busters, and Wind Guardian's field, and it is closely related to the Warrior 10 group. The name comes from Fairy, a small imaginary being of human form that has magical powers, especially a female one. Pheromon possesses the attribute of wind. It is the spirit evolution form of the human spirit of wind. Pheromon, a Digimon that possesses power over wind which bears the might of one of the legendary 10 warriors. It freely manipulates the atmosphere to display mirages to its opponents, and specializes in attacks that generate kamitachi made from vacuums. However, it is more proficient in information warfare than in actual combat ability. Although it has an innocent personality brimming with curiosity, and is a gossipy, talkative troublemaker, because it has no ill will for the person, it isn't really hated. It is thoroughly optimistic, and is the possessor of a strong heart that cuts its way through small difficulties with a smile. His special moves are performing a handstand and unleashing a whirlwind kick, tornado gambit, and rushing toward the opponent, then dispatching a backflip kick after a barrage of kicks, Riseo Temporo. Shuchimon is a hybrid-level perfect class birdman type that has the variable attribute. It belongs to Wind Guardian's field, and it is closely related to the Warrior 10 group. The name comes from Shudu, the mythological Sumerian god of wind. Shuchimon possesses the attribute of wind. It is the spirit evolution form of the beast spirit of wind. Shuchimon, a Digimon that possesses power over wind which bears the might of one of the legendary 10 warriors. At a glance, it looks like a compassed adult woman, but although it perplexes its opponents with its languid behavior, it actually has an impish personality that loves to capriciously embarrass people. It does things like purposefully telling its opponent unhappy fortunes or startling them. In battle, it seldom takes the initiative and helps out, but although you don't see its efforts, it will sometimes risk the possibility of getting into trouble. Once it feels so inclined, it glides freely through the sky, manipulating the wind and knocking out the opponent with a secret Mesopotamian spell. His special moves are cutting the opponent and the atmosphere around it to pieces with the claws on its hands and feet, Gilgamesh Slicer, and flying up into the air, and hurling the feathers of its hair and wings as pointed arrows, Wind of Pain. Jet Sulfamon is a hybrid-level fusion species ultimate class birdman type that has the variable attribute. It belongs to Wind Guardian's field, and it is closely related to the Warrior 10 group. The name comes from Jet, an aircraft that is powered by jet engines, and Sylph, the mythological spirit of the air. Jet Sulfamon possesses the attribute of wind. It is the double spirit evolution form of the human and beast spirits of wind. Jet Sulfamon, a Digimon that possesses power over wind, that has transcended legend, by inheriting all the might of one of the legendary 10 warriors and acquiring unknown abilities. By taking in wind and using the wind's power, it is able to fly about the sky like a jet aircraft. Also, like the wind, its form cannot be seen as it moves through the sky. His special moves are firing from both arms with the power of the wind, Jet Binter, and generating an unprecedented turbulence from its gigantic pinwheel, and blowing the opponent all the way away, Alter Turbulence. Ancient Megatheriumon is an ultimate level ancient beast type that has the data attribute. It belongs to Deep Saber's field, and it is a member of the Warrior 10 group. The name comes from ancient, being belonged to the very distant past, and Megatherium, an extinct species of giant ground sloth. Ancient Megatheriumon possesses the attribute of ice. Its abilities were passed on to the mammal and icy snow-type Digimon. Ancient Megatheriumon. Possessing the attribute of ice, it is one of the legendary 10 warriors Digimon that saved the ancient digital world. An ultimate who existed only in the distant past, it is said that the power and bravery it possesses can adapt even to the intense cold of the freezing tundra. With an attack of absolute zero, it suspends the atomic movement of every object, and it easily destroys even the eternally frozen gigantic icebergs. Ancient Megatheriumon's abilities were later passed on to the mammal and ice snow Digimon. Its special moves are Super Blizzard at absolute zero, Freezing Blizzard, and a Super Charge which can even destroy a gigantic iceberg, Great Snowplow. Jackman is a hybrid level adult class beastman type that has the variable attribute. It belongs to Deep Saber's field, and it is closely related to the Warrior 10 group. The name comes from Chak, probably derived from Chakahu, literally ice secretion in Japanese. Chakman possesses the attribute of ice. It is the spirit evolution form of the human spirit of ice. Chakman. The Digimon that possesses power over ice, which bears the might of one of the legendary 10 warriors. It styles itself as holding rank as a member of the Polar Army's Polar Region Defense Force. Since it replies that the matter's top secret if you ask anything about it, the truth is unknown. It's thought to be largely something it dreamed up. However, its operation of the launcher it carries, nicknamed Romeo, and its precision conduct in battle are genuine, and its survivalist knowledge also has a strong, truly reliable existence. Since it rarely acts of its own volition, it primarily operates in response to someone's requests or orders. It will have nothing to do if nobody is relying on it, and is likely to worry about its purpose in life, and get completely depressed. The shots fired from its launcher are special snowballs, so there are several varieties according to purpose. Its special moves are taking the shape of an icicle and pouncing at the opponent, Surirar, and blindly firing supercooled snowballs from the launcher, Snow Bomber. Lizarmon is a hybrid level perfect class beast type that has the variable attribute. It belongs to Deep Saber's field, and it is closely related to the Warrior 10 group. The name comes from Blizzard, a severe snowstorm with high winds. Lizarmon possesses the attribute of ice. It is the spirit evolution form of the beast spirit of ice. Lizarmon. A Digimon that possesses power over ice, which bears the might of one of the legendary 10 warriors. It's closer to recklessness than dauntless courage, but in any case it's a ruffian overflowing with desire and ambition. It's powerfully curious and to show off, so it's pretty frivolous. On the brink of battle, it always pauses to offer a prayer to the god of ice and snow in which it believes, then shouts the names of its special moves and something humorous. However, in practice, it is being shrewd and is closely observing the opponent and terrain, heightening its advantage in combat. Its special moves are wielding its two tomahawks, e.g. in the Ujjayi, to chop up the opponent like it was dancing, avalanche step, and restricting the opponent's movement with the extensible hair on its head, then stabbing them with the bladed edges until they stop, Fletcher Torpedo. The Penman is a hybrid level fusion species ultimate class beast type that has the variable attribute. It belongs to Deep Saber's field, and it is closely related to the Warrior 10 group. The name comes from Dai, meaning big in Japanese, and penguin, a type of large black and white seabird found mainly in the Antarctic. Dependent possesses the attribute of ice. It is the double spirit evolution form of the human and beast spirits of ice. Dependent. A Digimon that possesses power over ice that has transcended legend by inheriting all the might of one of the legendary 10 warriors, and acquiring unknown abilities. Although its wings have degenerated, by flapping the gigantic Kakakaki-kan hunk of ice held in its right hand, and the Kachikachi-kan held in its left, it seems it can momentarily fly in the air. It's free from care because it is able to manufacture the Kakakaki-kan and the Kachikachi-kan on its own, even if they melt away. Its special moves are dipping the Kakakaki-kan from its right hand in blue syrup, then striking the opponent, Blue Hawaii Death, and dipping the Kachikachi-kan from its left hand in red syrup, then striking the opponent, Ichigo Death. Furthermore, there seems to be no difference in the offensive abilities of the dip syrup colors. Ancient Sphinxman is an ultimate level ancient mythical beast type that has the virus attribute. It belongs to Nightmare Soldier's field, and it is a member of the Warrior 10 group. The name comes from ancient, being belonged to the very distant past, and Sphinx, a mythical creature with the head of a human, a falcon, a cat, or a sheep and the body of a lion with the wings of an eagle. Ancient Sphinxman possesses the attribute of darkness. Its abilities were passed on to the mythical beast and demon beast type Digimon. Ancient Sphinxman. Possessing the attribute of darkness, it is one of the legendary 10 warriors Digimon that saved the ancient digital world. An ultimate who existed only in the distant past, it is set at the opposite extreme to ancient Garurumon as a being born from darkness. It rules over the destruction and annihilation of all existing or living things, and is feared as the deadly Dark Beast. Ancient Sphinxmon's abilities were later passed on to the mythical beast and demon beast Digimon. His special moves are Laser Beam fired with a Roar, Dark Blast, and the ultimate annihilation technique which completely envelops the opponent in the darkness of death, Necroeclipse. Loimon is a hybrid-level adult class warrior type that has the variable attribute. It belongs to Virus Buster's field, and it is closely related to the Warrior 10 group. The name comes from Lo, literally lion, Panther Leo, in German. Loimon possesses the attribute of darkness. It is the true spirit evolution form of the human spirit of darkness, Loimon. A Digimon that truly inherited the spirit of darkness of the legendary 10 warriors. The spirit of darkness was changed into its Duskmon form due to Chorubamon's spell, but Loimon is its true form released from this magical power. This form is by no means a baleful one, and is called the battling valiant jet black warrior, that becomes the shadow of the other 10 warriors. Even on its own, its power is comparable to fusion species like Aldemon, and it is said that it conceals its power, that puts the others to shame within the Nibelung ring placed on its right index finger. As a master of spearmanship, it is an executor of darkness, that pierces evil with the Danzai no Yori, and purifies it with the Shakizai no Tape. His special moves are blasting the opponent with an intense spear attack, Yug Schlaf, and firing a golden energy wave from the lion on his chest, and like meteor. Kaiserlemon is a hybrid-level perfect class cyber type that has the variable attribute. It belongs to Nature Spirits and Virus Buster's field, and it is closely related to the Warrior 10 group. The name comes from Kaiser, the German word for emperor, and Leo, literally lion. Kaiserlemon possesses the attribute of darkness. It is the true spirit evolution form of the beast spirit of darkness, Kaiserlemon. A Digimon that truly inherited the spirit of darkness of the legendary 10 warriors. As with Duskmon, the spirit of darkness was changed into its Feldmon form due to Chorubamon's spell, but Kaiserlemon is its true form released from this magical power. It is called the Jet Black Lion, and its body is covered in a unique metal which shines jet black, and is called Obsidian Digizoid, a kind of chrome Digizoid. For that reason, not only is its defensive ability high, but its body armor has a keen sharpness. It is said that after Kaiserlemon runs through, everything will be cut to pieces by the first gust of that black wind. Its special moves are firing a black spear shot, Schwarzdonnen, and smashing into the opponent with its whole body clad in a black ore, Schwarzkonig. Reihamon is a hybrid-level ultimate class warrior type that has the variable attribute. It's unknown whether it belongs to any specific fields. It is closely related to the Warrior 10 group. The name comes from Reich, literally the realm of an emperor, or empire in German. Reihamon possesses the attribute of darkness. It is the true double spirit evolution form of the human and beast spirit of darkness, Reihamon. A Digimon that possesses power over darkness that has transcended legend by inheriting all the might of one of the legendary 10 warriors, and acquiring unknown abilities. There are none who have seen this hero, and due to the fact that it doesn't leave behind so much as evidence of the opponents it has confronted, it is called the Guardian Emperor of Darkness. Its special moves are disabling all of the laws of physics in the surrounding region, and bringing down the opponent, Schwarzlerses, and an attack fired from the eyes of the lion on his head, Rock Cruz. Duskmon is a hybrid-level adult-class demon man type that has the variable attribute. It belongs to Dark Area, and Nightmare Soldier's field, and it is closely related to the Warrior 10 group. The name comes from dusk, the darker stage of twilight, the state or period of partial darkness between day and night. Duskmon possesses the attribute of darkness. It is the corrupted spirit evolution form of the human spirit of darkness, Duskmon. A Digimon that possesses power over darkness, which bears the might of one of the legendary 10 warriors. The regret of various extinct species of Digimon and the forbidden data on the net, transformed into intense dark energy, and coalesced into Duskmon. The dark energy exists in order to oppose the light of holy beings, and the one who possesses power over light is the flip side of the same coin. It has a thoroughly evil personality, so it is both callous and cruel. It is the possessor of demon lord-like dignity that is overflowing with perfectionism and confidence. It is invincible in battle when wielding its swords, and does not hesitate with its inhuman attacks. His special moves are making the eyes all over his body shine, and placing the opponent under hypnosis, Jaisa Bend, and absorbing the opponent's power with its two demonic blood evolution swords, and making it its own, Harobin. By the way, due to the ability of the 3 heads and 7 eyes on its armor to act on their own as if they were separate creatures, true evil is sealed in them. Eldamon is a hybrid-level perfect class giant bird type that has the variable attribute. It belongs to Nightmare Soldier's field, and it is closely related to the Warrior 10 group. The name comes from Resvelgr, a Jotun in Norse mythology, portrayed as the eagle-shaped originator of the wind. Velgrimmon possesses the attribute of darkness. It is the corrupted spirit evolution form of the beast Spirit of Darkness, Velgrimmon. A Digimon that possesses power over darkness, which bears the might of one of the legendary 10 warriors. It has the appearance of a monstrous, colossal bird, and due to its baleful appearance and nature, it is called the Corpse Swallower. It transforms from dustmen into fine particles, then comes flying out of the sky shrouded by the massive black fog they became. The intensely proud dustman hates transforming into the ugly, irrational Velgrimmon, so it doesn't show its Velgrimmon appearance unless under extreme circumstances. In normal battles, its main tools of combat are its claws, which have a tendency to blind the opponent, and its fangs, which can crunch even metal. Its special moves are flapping its wings with all its power, blowing away the opponent and all of the space around them to another dimension, Zone Deleter, and changing the opponent's nature to darkness and manipulating them to its heart's content, Master of Darkness. Ancient Volcanon is an ultimate level ancient mineral or ancient ore type that has the virus attribute. It belongs to Metal Empire and Nature Spears field, and it is a member of the Warrior 10 group. The name comes from ancient, being belonged to the very distant past, and volcano, a vent in the earth's crust through which lava, steam, ashes are expelled. Ancient Volcanon possesses the attribute of earth. Its abilities were passed on to the ore and mineral type Digimon. Ancient Volcanon. Possessing the attribute of earth, it is one of the legendary 10 warriors Digimon that saved the ancient digital world. An ultimate who existed only in the distant past, it has the most power among the ancient Digimon. There is always high temperature magma welling up inside its body, which becomes the source of its mighty power. Ancient Volcamon's abilities were later passed on to the ore and mineral types of rock species Digimon. His special moves are detonating the volcano on its back, and performing a super strong lariat with its propulsion, atomic bomber, and generating antimatter within its body, carrying out a super detonation comparable to a tiny Big Bang, supernova. Grodomon is a hybrid level adult class Oni type that has the variable attribute. It belongs to Metal Empire and Nature Spears field, and it is closely related to the Warrior 10 group. The name comes from grotto, a natural or artificial cave used by humans in both modern times and antiquity, and historically or prehistorically. Grodomon possesses the attribute of earth. It is the spirit evolution form of the human spirit of earth, Grodomon. A Digimon that possesses power over earth which bears the might of one of the legendary Warrior 10. Various weapons and armor are brought to life from its large hands and thick fingers, and its craftsmanship is practical yet artistic. The Grot armor that it wears and its main weapon, the Grot hammer, are both the handmade Grot brand. It prefers to act alone since it hates being ordered about. However, its artisan pride is such that once it recognizes someone's true merit, it will obediently abide them, and immerse itself in its own work. Although it's not very intelligent, its pride towards its work is intensely high, and it has a strong tendency to take the opponent lightly. In battle, it mainly petrifies enemies touched by its Grot hammer, and then destroys them, Snake Eye Break, and burrows into the ground, and ambushes the opponent from beneath their feet, Jack in the Box. But, in fact, it also has a technique which creates Guilliman using the earth around it, and orders them to attack. The Gasmon is a hybrid level perfect class mineral type that has the variable attribute. It belongs to Nature Spears field, and it is closely related to the Warrior 10 group. The name comes from Gigas, meaning giant in Greek, originally used to describe the race of Gigantes in Greek mythology. The Gasmon possesses the attribute of earth. It is the spirit evolution form of the beast Spirit of Earth, the Gasmon. A Digimon that possesses power over earth which bears the might of one of the legendary Warrior 10. It is an earth giant that materialized by coalescing soil from the ground and the components of the atmosphere. During the moment of its materialization, it quenched at a high temperature, and its skin changed to one of super hardness surpassing that of ceramics. Its personality and thoughts are arrogant according to Grodomon. Due to it becoming gigantic, it has become more overconfident, and its tactics are also extremely violent. Basically, because it makes light of its opponents, it thinks that fighting them is boring, and will often yawn during battle. His special moves are striking and raising up the ground with intense force after a huge jump, earthquake, and stretching out its arms, and then unleashing a double lariat by rapidly spinning, Hurricane Bomber. Ancient Charmin is an ultimate level ancient plant type that has the data attribute. It belongs to Nature Spears and Wind Guardians field, and it is a member of the Warrior 10 group. The name comes from ancient, being belonged to the very distant past, and Troy, the city that the Trojan horse is named for. Ancient Charmin possesses the attribute of wood. Its abilities were passed on to the plant type Digimon. Ancient Charmin. Possessing the attribute of wood, it is one of the legendary 10 warriors Digimon that saved the ancient digital world. An ultimate who existed only in the distant past, it boasts of the greatest size among the ancient Digimon. Various mechanisms are set within its body, and it displays tricky attacks and movements. Ancient Tournamen's abilities were later passed on to the plant Digimon. Its special moves are attacking by simultaneously operating every gimmick throughout its body, Appius gimmick, and shooting supermassive shells from the huge cannons in its mouth and chest, surprise cannon. Arbormon is a hybrid-level adult-class cyborg type that has the variable attribute. It belongs to Nature Spear's field, and it is closely related to the Warrior 10 group. The name comes from arbor, meaning tree in Latin. Arbormon possesses the attribute of wood. It is the spirit evolution form of the human spirit of wood, Arbormon. A Digimon that possesses power over plant which bears the might of one of the legendary Warrior 10. The blueprints of a medieval wooden Karakuri puppy converted into its data, so its gimmicks are surprisingly archaic. You can't tell what it's thinking due to its lack of facial expression and being taciturn, and it is usually treated literally like a puppet by its comrades, but once a battle begins, it makes sport of the enemy with its keen and tricky movements. It is able to shoot strong IV from the tubes on its back and manipulate the opponent like a marionette. Although its skin is made to be fireproof, its internal parts and joints are vulnerable to fire. Its special moves are unleashing continuous kicks from unexpected directions using its strange movements, machine gun dance, and by firing an enormous seed from the opening in its chest, training IV over the opponent's entire body, blockade seed. Vitaldramon is a hybrid-level perfect class plant type that has the variable attribute. It belongs to Nature Spear's field, and it is closely related to the Warrior 10 group. The name comes from petal, the segment of the corolla of a flower, and Draemon, of dragon. Vitaldramon possesses the attribute of wood. It is the spirit evolution form of the beast spirit of wood. Vitaldramon, a Digimon that possesses power over plant, which bears the might of one of the legendary Warrior 10. Countless buds sprouted from Arbormon's surface and suddenly grew, and it changed into a form like a giant lizard with plants over its surface. Although it's just like Arbormon, where you can't tell what it's thinking due to its lack of expression, it possesses a great appetite which is the exact opposite of Arbormon, who doesn't require food. When it opens its mouth, it sticks out its IV-like tongue and swallows anything. When it swallows its prey, the branches on its back grow and it grins eerily just at that moment. Its physical attacks are its branches and tail whip. It scatters sleep-inducing spores from its moss, which acts as its skin. Its special moves are rotating the leaves around its head and firing them, leaf cyclone, and making innumerable roots lurking in the ground pop up onto the surface all at once, skewering enemies in the area, thousand spike. Ancient Mermaimon is an ultimate level ancient aquatic beast man type that has the data attribute. It belongs to Deep Saber's field, and it is a member of the Warrior 10 group. The name comes from ancient, being belonged to the very distant past, and mermaid, an aquatic creature with the head and upper body of a female human and the tail of a fish. Ancient Mermaimon possesses the attribute of water. Its abilities were passed on to the aquatic type Digimon. Ancient Mermaimon, possessing the attribute of water, it is one of the legendary 10 warriors Digimon that saved the ancient digital world. An ultimate who existed only in the distant past, it is a guardian goddess of the birthplace of Digimon, the Net Ocean. It rules the whole of the far-reaching Net Ocean, and is able to handle all water, such as the ocean currents and tidal waves, as if they were its own limbs. It is said that countless continents and islands have been erased when Ancient Mermaimon felt anger. Ancient Mermaimon's abilities were later passed on to the aquatic Digimon. Its special moves are generating a gigantic maelstrom which swallows everything in the water, Great Maelstrom, and crystallizing water into super solids, then firing them off like a machine gun, Crystal Billow. Banamon is a hybrid-level adult-class fairy type that has the variable attribute. It belongs to Deep Saber's field, and it is closely related to the Warrior 10 group. The name comes from Rana, literally frog in Latin, a tailless amphibian with a short squat body, moist smooth skin, and very long hind legs for leaping. Ranamon possesses the attribute of water. It is the spirit evolution form of the human spirit of water. Ranamon, a Digimon that possesses power over water which bears the might of one of the legendary Warrior 10. It has a sharp intuition and an unstable mood, probably because it was formed in an area that was mostly active in a section of the ocean within a weather forecasting system. Its emotions are erratic. When it feels good, it shows off how graceful and ladylike it is, but when it gets upset, it cries hysterically like a baby. In battle, it rarely attacks directly, and mainly does so indirectly by manipulating rain. However, since its combat abilities are intense when it is emotionally overwrought, its attacks are especially uncontrollable while it is crying. Its special moves are accumulating heavy rain into a single mass, and crushing the enemy with it, Rain Stream, and dissolving the enemy's entire body with Acid Rain, Jealousy Rain. Palomaramon is a hybrid-level perfect class aquatic type that has the variable attribute. It belongs to Deep Saber's field, and it is closely related to the Warrior 10 group. The The name comes from calamaro, literally squid in Italian, a sea creature with a long soft body, and many soft arms called tentacles. Calamariman possesses the attribute of water. It is the spirit evolution form of the beast spirit of water. Calamariman. A Digimon that possesses power over water, which bears the might of one of the legendary Warrior 10. It has a half-human, half-beast appearance, and its tentacles are used for offense and defense, doing things like attacking the enemy by rapidly spinning them, or guarding its body by converging them to form a wall. If it reaches a stalemate by attacking and defending with its tentacles, its body retracts into its mantle, and it performs a powered-up attack with its giant squid figure. The flexibility of its mantle is superior to that of its tentacles, so external physical attacks are ineffective. Although it is good at operating underwater or in the air, on land, it manipulates its 10 tentacles skillfully and moves like a huge hermit crab. Its personality is sly and short-tempered like a witch. Its special moves are spitting out dissoluble ink from its mouth, Nero Corso, and hardening its mantle, spinning like a drill, and then striking the enemy, Titanic Charge. Ancient Wisemon is an ultimate level ancient mutant type that has the virus attribute. It belongs to Nightmare Soldiers in Metal Empire Field, and it is a member of the Warrior 10 group. The name comes from ancient, being belonged to the very distant past, and wise, describes someone who has experience, knowledge, and good judgment. Ancient Wisemon possesses the attribute of steel. Its abilities were passed on to the mutant-type Digimon. Ancient Wisemon. Possessing the attribute of steel, it is one of the legendary 10 warriors Digimon that saved the ancient digital world. An ultimate who existed only in the distant past, it is the wisest person in the digital world. Due to the Akashic records which record all of the excellent intellects of ancient times, it is said that there is nothing which ancient Wisemon doesn't know. It is a sage that possesses the knowledge of the distant past, but can also forecast the distant future. Also, it is said that ancient Wisemon's mirror body is connected to the spirit world, another universe. Ancient Wisemon's abilities were later passed on to the mutant Digimon. Its special moves are calculating the coordinates to the spirit world with ultimate wisdom, and imprisoning the opponent for eternity in that separate universe, Lapis no Ma, and summoning the ultimate evil god from that universe, Elder Sun. Makiraman is a hybrid level adult class mutant type that has the variable attribute. It belongs to Metal Empire Field, and it is closely related to the Warrior 10 group. The name comes from Mercure, literally mercury in French, a heavy, silver-white, highly toxic metallic element, liquid at normal temperatures. Makiraman possesses the attribute of steel. It is the spirit evolution form of the human spirit of steel. Makiraman. A Digimon that possesses power over steel which bears the might of one of the legendary Warrior 10. It acts as an advisor among the evil warriors, to whom it imparts its wisdom. Due to its aristocratic tendencies, it often obsesses over making sure things are done to its liking. This obsession carries over into battle, where it explains its tactics and the splendor of the equipment it uses one by one. While its brilliant mind allows it to come up with various strategies, at the same time, it often ends up arguing with itself in a fast-paced soliloquy because of it. The powerful mirrors on both of its arms are referred to as the Irony Notate, and they reflect any damage dealt to it by the opponent's attacks back at the opponent. It also utilizes a peculiar trick where it reflects itself in its mirror, then proceeds to enter the mirror and vanish without a trace. Its special moves are reflecting the opponent's attacks back at it, with its Irony Notate, Generous Mirror, and reversing the properties of the opponent's attacks, and offsetting them, Offset Reflector. Sephirothman is a hybrid level perfect class mutant type that has the variable attribute. It belongs to Metal Empire Field, and it is closely related to the Warrior 10 group. The name comes from Sephir, literally, numbers, in Jewish Kabbalah, the 10 emanations of Ein Sof or divine infinitude, each comprising a different aspect of creative energy. Sephirothman possesses the attribute of steel. It is the spirit evolution form of the beast spirit of steel. Sephirothman. A Digimon that possesses power over steel which bears the might of one of the legendary Warrior 10. It possesses thinking like that of a machine, which lacks emotions. By instantly analyzing the enemy, it accurately points out their weaknesses. However, it is very fragile when the enemy makes an action that falls outside of its calculations. Its 10 spheres each have the same attribute as the other Warrior 10, and are able to perform attacks with, and conversely, absorb attacks with those attributes. When the enemy's attack misses or its own attack hits, it gives out a low-pitched, creepy laugh from its eerie mouth. Its special move is randomly performing attacks with the same attributes as the Warrior 10 from the sphere in the position where it stopped after shuffling its spheres through its Calvaria, Rumble Blend number, 1 to 10. Susanimon is the ultimate level God-Man type that has the Vacciner-free attribute. It belongs to Nightmare Soldiers and Virus Busters Field, and it is related to the Warrior 10 group. The name comes from Susanoo, the kami of the sea and storms in Shinto. Susanimon possesses the attribute of heaven. It is the Jogras evolution form of Kaiser Greymon and Magna Guruman. Susanimon. Told of in Oriental legends, it is the strongest destructive god and a god which governs over regeneration. It is told that when the network system descends into chaos, it will erase the existing system and create a new one. His special moves are slicing and stabbing everything in the world, with the sword of light emanated from the zero-arm Zerachi, Almano Habakiri. Almano Habakiri, literally slash of heavenly wings, where Susanimon slices and stabs everything in the world with the zero-arm Zerachi. And an ultimate technique in which appoints the sword of light, emanated from the zero-arm Zerachi, at the heavens, which then rain incessant bolts of lightning upon the ground, Yakuza no Aikatsuchi. Yakuza no Aikatsuchi, literally 8 thunder gods, where Susanimon summons a spiraling thundercloud from which 8 dragons of lightning emerge to attack the enemy. Also, Zero-Arm Zerachi, where Susanimon fires from Zero-Arm Zerachi 2 spheres of energy, red and blue, that merge and cause a big explosion.